Uganda will also presidency of G20. Uganda will take on the presidency of the non-aligned movement. And I have promised to the Ugandan government, to the president, that India will do everything in its power to support a successful presidency of the non-aligned movement by Uganda. So, ये संक्षिप्त में जो भी मेरी बातचीत जो यहाँ हुई, मैंने सोचा कि मैं आपके साथ, आपको तो जानना ही चाहिए, आप लोग यहाँ रहते हैं, तो आपको कम से कम जो भारत और युगांडा के बीच में जो भी हो रहा है, जो बातचीत हो रही है, जो रिश्ते जो बढ़ रहे हैं, उसके बारे में जानकारी होनी चाहिए। तो मैं आपको थोड़ा घर के बारे में भी बता देता हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि आप वो भी जानना चाहते हैं। सबसे पहले तो मैं कहूँगा कि आप पता नहीं आप लोग माने कितने महीने में घर जाते होंगे? 6 महीने में तो जाते होंगे ना, साल में तो जाते होंगे ना? हाँ, आप 2 इयर्स नहीं, 2 इयर्स तो ज़्यादा है। एक चीज मैं आपको बताऊं, अगर आप मेरे से पूछेंगे कि घर की क्या खबर है, तो मैं कहूंगा कि मूड बहुत पॉजिटिव। जो वो डायलॉग था ना कि हाउ इज द जोश, तो जोश इज वेरी हाई, एंड जोश इज वेरी हाई for very good reasons. First, people in India, because just think last 3-4 years, wherever you are in the world, 2 years for every one of us went in COVID. You know, there is not, I think in any country, anybody who said I am unaffected by COVID. Either we got COVID या कोई नज़दीक, कोई परिवार में हो, कोई दोस्त हो, कोई पड़ोसी हो। So, then all these other problems, these economic problems which have come out partly because of this Ukraine conflict, but other problems also. So, if you look at the state of the world is actually very tough. But if you come to India, the mood is good because people feel today that we have come through COVID. Yes, we came through at a great cost. But I must tell you, the national self-confidence which came out of dealing with COVID, which came of the fact that we set up very quickly COVID centers, that a country, when COVID first came, हम लोग तो कुछ भी नहीं बनाते थे। मुझे उस समय प्रधानमंत्री उन्होंने एक ग्रुप खड़ा किया कि 4-5 मंत्री थे जिनकी जिम्मेदारी थी कि वी मॉनिटर कोविड, वी वुड रिपोर्ट टू हिम एवरी डे। मैं उसमें से सदस्य था। एंड व्हेन वी लुक्ड कि भाई देश में कितने मास्क बनते हैं, कितने पीपी बनते हैं, कितनी वेंटिलेटर बनती हैं, वेरी ऑनेस्टली हम तो घबरा गए। आई मीन यू एक्चुअली सॉ हाउ लिटिल वाज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया, एंड येट विद इन अ मैटर ऑफ वीक्स, मंथ्स, you actually saw what is the real spirit of India. And we were able to set up COVID centers in thousands. We were able to produce medicines for ourselves, even for the world. उस समय आपको याद होगा, there was one medicine called hydroxychloroquine. अब दुनिया में कहीं वो खबर फैल गई थी that this is very very good treatment for COVID. There was a huge global demand. We were able to meet that demand. There were countries who did not have vaccines. There were countries who had vaccines but वो vaccination कर नहीं पाए. They did not have a scheme. They did not have a system. Then there were countries जो vaccination कर पाए, वो आपको certificate दे नहीं पाए. So these were all the challenges of COVID. And the Indian public saw we could make vaccines. We could have made in India vaccines. We had invented in India vaccines. We had a system of vaccination, वो कोविन प्लेटफॉर्म बना था, where everybody got their certificate also. And it was done in a very, very systematic way. And every time there was a crisis, you saw government could raise the level of its response very much higher. So, though it has been a very painful period, I must say that the COVID experience actually has resulted today in a nation feeling that yes, we are India, we are capable of things, we can in many ways lead the world in many areas. So that is why today that sense of we can do something, this is very, very strong. The second is actually economic, because again, there are many countries in the world where they are struggling with their economy. Even developed countries are having a very tough time. But in India, we are today the largest of the large economies. We have the highest growth rate which India will see. We'll see this year, we will see in the coming years. And this is not just a growth rate. It is also backed by, we have had the highest ever exports. Just few days ago, Piyush Goyal announced that our exports for the first time have crossed $750 billion. We are also attracting the highest ever FDI, the foreign investment flowing into India. We are the #1 FDI destination in the world. And for a country where for many years we did not give attention to manufacturing, today even that has changed. And the example which people talk about is actually Apple. That iPhone, which was made in another country for many, many years. Today the new iPhone is made in India at the same time as it is made in the world. So these are two examples. But the real change is not only out of COVID, it is not only out of just the economy. It is actually the change we have seen, 10 years of change, 9 years coming on to 10 years. A change in the leadership, change in the vision, change in the commitment, and change in the delivery. And I will tell you why. During COVID, medical, health, vaccination, these were very big issues. But equally big was actually how to feed people, how to support people who lost their jobs, how to deal with people who left cities and went back to their homes, how to deal with informal sector who had to shut down their shops and shut down their services. And that is when actually India discovered its real strength. Because if I give you the numbers, I assure you, you will actually, because this is a conversation I have with many people abroad. For the last 3 years, since COVID, to 80 crore, 800 million people. 800 million people. And it is because Prime Minister took this decision that we did not have the problems which 100 years ago actually happened in our country during Spanish flu. Not just give food. आप लोगों को याद होगा जब वो प्रधानमंत्री बने थे, उनकी एक अपील थी कि सब लोग अपना बैंक में खाता खोलें. People found it very strange, भाई पैसे नहीं है तो कैसे खोलेंगे? Then he got that also fixed and said, no, please open your account. It is because he insisted on opening bank accounts that today we are able to put 42 crore every month. 42 crore, 420 million payments are made into the accounts of people. These are the people who need this money for very basic things. So today, if India has come through this, nobody complains that they lack food. People got money for their necessities. But this was during COVID. Some of it continues. You must also see the change which is going on. And particularly जिन्होंने कहा कि मैं 2 साल से नहीं गया, आप जहाँ के भी हैं, आप जाकर देखिए वहाँ क्या हो रहा है. आज जो है, we have a whole set of योजनास. प्रधानमंत्री जो बैंक ट्रांसफर की जो बात कर रहा था, वो प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण योजना थी. जो फूड सपोर्ट जो था वो अन्न योजना थी, और एक आवास योजना, अंडर आवास योजना we government has supported people financially to build 30 million houses, 3 crore houses. And if you think 5 people live in a house, that means 150 million, 3 times the population of this country, population of Japan. Population of Japan has got home ownership in the last few years. There is a program many of you would have heard called Ujjwala, और मैंने सुना था कि वही समस्या यहाँ भी है कि लोग फायरवुड यूज़ करते हैं, और प्रधानमंत्री जी कहते थे कि यूजिंग फायरवुड इज लाइक स्मोकिंग मल्टीपल पैक्स ऑफ सिगरेट एवरी डे. अब when we changed under Ujjwala firewood to gas cylinders, the number of beneficiaries were 8 crores. 9 crores actually. The 9 crores is the population of Germany. तो आप ही समझिए कि भारत में किस स्केल में परिवर्तन हुआ. That you are able to feed people who are the size of Europe and America. You are able to put money in bank accounts for entire European population. You can give houses to the size of Japan. You can give gas cylinders to the size of Germany. And I can give you many other examples. So it can be support which is given to Kisan. It can be even जो वेंडर जो हैं, जो इनफॉर्मल इकोनॉमी वाले जो हैं, उनको पहले बैंक कहती थी कि भाई कोलैटरल दिखाओ, उनके पास कोलैटरल था ही. अब टुडे दे कैन गेट लोन्स, दे कैन गेट अनसिक्योर्ड लोन्स. एंड वन थिंग आई वुड से, मुद्रा हो या ऐसी स्वनिधि जैसे स्कीम हो, इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग इज जो लोन लेते हैं, द लोन रीपेमेंट रेट इज़ वेरी वेरी हाई. तो जब सरकार पब्लिक पे विश्वास करती है, लेट मी टेल यू, पब्लिक रीपेज इट. He is able today to trust people, and people feel that obligation. So this too is part of what is the change you will experience. But wherever you go today in India, you will see some building, some construction going on. Roads are being built, metro is being built, housing is happening. It is, if you go to a village, last year Prime Minister told us that it is 75 years of our independence. तो उनकी ये एक गुजारिश थी. He said, every minister, every member of parliament, आप लोग जो हैं अपने क्षेत्र में जाएं, अपने ज़िले में जाएं, and in every district, please ensure that there are 75 sarovars that are built. It's a very simple thing. बारिश आती है, बह जाती है, nobody retains water. And you know, water is the biggest problem in our country. Now, just this, I mean, look at the clarity of this vision. That 750 districts of India, every district, big pond, small pond, big project, you actually ended up with 50,000 new water bodies. It is very simple at one level, it is so effective at another. So these are the kind of changes today that are taking place in India. And these, I am describing to you sometimes physical change, but you should also see the mindset change of people. मैं भारत में, मेरी आदत है, I go to many universities. I see one very interesting change. Before you go to university or you go to a school, people will say, this person came first in the class. ये हमारे gold medalist है, ये हमारे silver medalist है, ये board के topper हैं, इन्होंने अच्छा किया. Today you see something very different. People say, इनकी patent है, इनका इनोवेशन है, प्लीज स्पेंड हाफ एन आवर, ये अपना प्रोजेक्ट दिखाएंगे. दिस इज एक्चुअली अ डिफरेंट इंडिया, अ डिफरेंट यंग जनरेशन दैट इज कमिंग, अ जनरेशन टुडे which is actually feeling that we have it in us to do things differently, to take India on a different route. That confidence actually Prime Minister has been able to instill in the country. So if I were to sum up all this, आप लोगों ने ये, you would have heard this very often, आत्मनिर्भर भारत. कभी कभी आप बैठ के सोचिए, विचार करिए, what does आत्मनिर्भर भारत mean? आत्मनिर्भर भारत at the end of the day is actually a confidence. ये आत्मविश्वास की भावना है कि we are capable of many things. We need a leader who will give us the confidence that we can realize that capability, who can give us the policies that will enable us to go in that direction. And it is happening. You know, I am sharing with you different aspects of it. That today manufacturing is coming back. Today exports are booming. Today digital India is moving forward. If we take a look at really the speed of digitization of India, it is faster than any other society. So this whole, I would say, transformation of India that is taking place, this is really what New India is about. This is what the world is noticing, and this is something which all of you sitting here must be aware of. I hope very much the next time you go to India, you will yourself be able to experience it. But I also want to say this new India today can in many ways, its relationship with the rest of the world can become much stronger. That there are many more opportunities coming out of this India for you. But before I conclude, let me also say a few lines. बिकॉज टिल नाउ मैंने कहा कि आपको भारत में क्या हो रहा है, आपको कैसा लगता होगा, मुझे कैसा लगता है. मैं आपके साथ ये भी शेयर करना चाहूँगा, हाउ डज द वर्ल्ड सी अस, बिकॉज वी हैव चेंज्ड, देयर परसेप्शन ऑफ अस वुड हैव आल्सो चेंज्ड. पीपल सी आवर इकोनॉमिक चेंज, दे सी आवर इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेंथ. वी आर टुडे द 5th largest economy in nominal terms. We are very confident by the end of the decade we will almost certainly be the 3rd largest economy. Secondly, today people see a different India, India which is willing to stand up, and India which will meet its national security challenges. So, whether it is Uri or whether it is Balakot, today the forces that indulged in cross against us for decades, और जिसको हमने बर्दाश्त किया है, they now know this is a different India. This India will give them a reply. But that is not the only border where there is a challenge. There is also a challenge on the China border. आप सब लोग जानते हैं, for last 3 years, in violation of agreements, Chinese have brought large forces. Today, the Indian military is deployed at very great heights in very tough conditions out there, and I can tell you the difference is that our soldiers have full backing, they have the right equipment, they have the infrastructure, which of course more work has to be done because it has been neglected in the past. But this is a different India which will stand up for its interests, and the world will recognize that also. It is also a more independent India. This is an India where if we are put under pressure, if countries tell us where we should buy our oil and where we should not buy our oil, this is an India. This is an India which will do what is in the interest of its citizens, its consumers. But it's also, that's not the only situation. We sometimes are also told, you know, we had joined a group called Quad. अब कुछ लोगों को बुरा लगा, अब लगा तो लगा. Now we had done some years ago, in 2007, also Quad had come. But at that time, the countries involved in it, they bent to pressure and gave up on it. This time we are very clear. if Quad is in global interest, it is good for the world, it is good for all of us. We will do whatever is necessary. So it is not just one issue. This is today a different India which will take positions which will be determined by Indian national interest, and that is very much, you can actually see that in the personality of Prime Minister Modi.